Today I'm going to be looking at a Hunter PVE build focused around Gwisin Vest. This one works in partnership with the subclass Way of the Wraith, as it can extend our super, making us deadly in PVE. This Void combo is going to be paired with some seasonal mods and weapons to maximise the damage, and also add a little bit of variety into your PVE game. So the following is a Gwisin Vest Hunter PVE build for Destiny 2. And don't forget, if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content, and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. The main components here are going to be our exotic armour and our subclass. You can pretty much mix and match the weapons to your favourites, and I'm going to try and keep with the Void theme as it's a Void subclass, but don't let that restrict you. And just for a bit of fun, I've thrown in the Ruinous Effigy here too. Originally I had Gnawing Hunger, but to be honest that felt a little bit stale. Gnawing Hunger is good of course, but Ruinous Effigy felt a lot more fun, and sometimes you need a little bit of fun to mix it up in PvE. And it also gives you that variety in attacking styles, as you can drain your enemies of their energy or slam them into their buddies. Well, let's check out the build in a little bit more detail. First up, for the exotic armour, we got Gwisin Vest, and Gwisin Vest is an exotic hunter chest armour that you can get from Zur or random world drop exotic engrams. It was originally introduced in Season 4, and let's check out the perks. So first up, we've got Roving Assassin. Each spectral blades kill you make before going into stealth will restore more of your super energy. And we've got increased resilience. I'm going to be using Gwisin Vest, and that'll pair this up with our subclass Middle Tree Night Stalker. So Gwisin Vest was pretty much built for Middle Tree Night Stalker, and using Roving Assassin we're going to be able to extend our super and making this much more effective in PvE. Next up, let's have a look at the subclass, and we're using Way of the Wraith. And let's check out the perks. So we've got Spectral Blades, a roaming void super which grants visibility with True Sight when cast, and it gives the player 2 void daggers which deal massive damage. We've got Corrosive Smoke. This is a melee ability which throws a smoke bomb that explodes in a line, damaging and slowing enemies from afar. We've also got Flawless Execution, so scoring precision kills while crouched grants invisibility and True Sight. And finally, we've got Shattering Strike, so hitting enemies with a melee attack after triggering Flawless Execution weakens them and also reduces their damage output. Spectral Blades, they're going to be the main focus here, but it's also nice to have another damaging grenade in Corrosive Smoke. Pairing this up with the exotic armour Gwisin Vest is going to allow us to extend our super. And when you heavy attack during Spectral Blades, this is going to restore a large portion of super energy, allowing you to carry on roaming around with your super. And it's a similar effect to Raiden Flux and Arcstrider Hunters, if you're familiar with that one. So next up, let's have a look at the weapons. So the weapons for this build are pretty mix and match. Now I'm going to be using a combination of weapons and seasonal mods, but if you're checking out this guide in the future, then I'd just pair up weapons and mods that are good in that season. So first up, I'm using Breachlight, and it's a legendary kinetic sidearm first introduced in Season of Dawn, but you can get this now through Umbral engrams. It's an aggressive burst sidearm, so it's hard hitting and has a 2-burst fire. Next up, I'm using Ruinous Effigy, and this is an exotic energy trace rifle originally introduced in Season of Arrivals. So this one is going to be the exotic weapon for the build, and this is one of the most fun and unique weapons in the game hands down. So let's check out the perks. First up, we've got Transmutation, so final blows of this weapon collapse victims into void transmutation spheres. And then we've got Evolution, so transmutation spheres you create can be picked up and wielded as weapons by you or your allies. So you've got a light attack, a heavy attack, and you can guard or drain nearby combatants. Through these perks you're going to be able to turn your enemies into void orbs, pick them up and slam them into their buddies, or use them for AoE damage. And this is pretty versatile and powerful and goes well with the void focused build. Finally, I'm using Falling Guillotine, which is a legendary power sword. And for the perks on this one, we've got Vortex Frame, so you launch a heavy spin attack. Heavy attacks are stronger with full energy, and attacks partially bypass elemental shields. And you can get this one to roll with Whirlwind Blade, so rapid sword strikes increase the weapon's damage for a short duration, and guarding also ends the effect. And you really can't ignore swords in Season of Arrivals, and combined with the mods and its void synergy, it's going to go really well with this build. So finally then, let's have a look at the mods, and for the mods I'm going to be using a combination of Charge Mid Light and seasonal mods. Again, the build is mainly focused around the exotic armour and the subclass, so do feel free to add and remove the weapons and mods that fit you best. First up, I'm using Surprise Attack, so while charged with light, reloading or readying a sidearm will consume all stacks of charged with light and convert them into stacks of a major damage buff, which is depleted as you damage combatants with that sidearm. So that's going to work really nicely with Breach Light. Then I've got Oppressive Darkness, so causing damage with a Void Grenade as a weakening effect to your combatants. And I'm using Lucent Blade as well, so while charged with light, dealing damage with a sword gives you bonus sword damage for 5 seconds, consuming 1 stack of charge with light. To get charged with light, I'm using Taking Charge, and finally, I'm using Ashes to Assets so you get super energy on grenade kills. Surprise Attack is going to go perfectly with Breach Light, giving me charged bullets which are going to cause much more damage. I've also got a decent Outlaw Rampage roll on Breach Light, and that's going to stack in damage anyways. Feel free to use any sidearm that you like with Surprise Attack, though I tend to use sidearms that are above 300 RPM, and for example Lonesome is good and it's available in Season of Arrivals, but for me it felt a little bit too slow. So with Oppressive Darkness and Lucent Blade, it's such an effective combo. Throw a Void Grenade in there to weaken enemies, and then run in with Falling Guillotine and Lucent Blade for that 35% increase in damage, and champions and enemies are simply going to fold and just die in front of you. Having Ashes to Assets as well as Oppressive Darkness is great, as you're not only going to soften up enemies with Oppressive Darkness, but also get Super Energy too, which you can use to get back your Spectral Blade Super much more often. So now we've got our build in place, let's check out some gameplay. So when I run around getting some sidearm kills using Surprise Attack, turn your enemies into Void Orbs with Ruinous Effigy and getting some damage on their buddies with either Drain or the Slam moves. Use Oppressive Darkness and Falling Guillotine to take out some yellow bar enemies or champions. Build up that super energy with Ashes to Assets. Unleash Spectral Blade and get in some heavy attacks to regenerate the super energy. Rinse and repeat and have some fun. Well, let me know down in the comments what you think of the build, and if you've got any improvements, do let me know and share with the community. And if you've got any specific armour pieces you want builds created for, let me know and I'll see what I can do. Well, that's it for this Gwisin Vest Hunter PVE build in Destiny 2, and thank you so much for watching. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. If you want to join the community, check out the Discord link in the description, or you can follow me on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out these other videos on the channel. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.
Titan never bounced back after the collapse. Fine by me. Still a quiet place to camp out when